O Great Spirit, Namaste. Saints and sages of all times, of all places, Namaste. O ye pathmakers of old, O ye beings of the air, the earth, the fire, the water, the ether, Namaste. Ancestors, ancestors of our bloodlines, of our spiritual lines, of our adopted lines, Namaste. O ye powers that be, most beloved and precious Ishtadevata, in all of thy names and all of thy forms, in thy formless manifestation, Namaste. Sweep clear our paths, that we might see more clearly, that we might hear more clearly, that we might know that which needs to be done. Om Hum Jum Saha Om Bhurbhuva Svaha Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urbarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyam Amritata Svaha Bhuva Bhur Om Saha Jum Hum Om Om Hum Jum Saha Om Bhurbhuva Svaha Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urbarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyam Amritata Svaha Bhuva Bhur Om Saha Jum Hum Om Hum Jum Saha Om Bhurbhuva Svaha Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urbarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyam Amritata Svaha Bhuva Bhur Om Saha Jum Hum Om. Namaste. Namaste. Welcome. Welcome to my heart. Welcome to our Sunday Sangha, our Sunday meditation. And this morning, Om Namah Shivaya. Now begins the story. Once upon a yogi time, in the ever-present now, there lived a fella. He was an Ashura. Now, you probably remember there were the Devis, the good guys, if you will, and the Ashuras, not so good, always wreaking havoc upon both the earth and the celestial realms. His name was Brasmura, but for today we're just going to call him Bras. Easier. Now, just because the Ashuras were evil or evildoers does not mean that they were ignorant. He was the most clever of the Ashuras. Very, very thoughtful, very smart, very astute. In fact, he was a scholarly Ashura. And he began in his youth. He fought and fought and fought. He was in all these battles with the people, the humans, the animals, the deities, the gods. And one day, he said, you know, I noticed something here. Something's not working. Every single time that the Ashuras get into a battle, something happens. And some god comes down from the heavens and rescues the Devis. Without fail, no matter how many of us there are, no matter how far ahead we are in the battle, we lose. He was tired of losing. Who is it that always, always, always wins? Who's the greatest of them all? I'll give you a hint. And he lifted up. And what did he see? Lord Shiva. So he decides he's going to become friends. He's going to get the blessing of Lord Shiva. He's going to befriend Lord Shiva. He is going to be the most devoted of all to Lord Shiva. Packs up his bag, very small, petite bag, little bit of food, just a little bit of food, and heads up to the Himalayas. Climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs till he gets to the highest, coldest part of the Himalayas. He's just very, very, very cold there. And he finds in the crevices a small cave, very dark cave, very, very cold cave. Now, it's so cold in this part of the Himalayas that even in the summertime, water does not run. It's that cold, just as icy as could be. Water never runs. So he sits down, and he's brought his deer skin to meditate on, and he's properly dressed to meditate. And he begins to meditate. And in a very short time, he develops the skill to ignore the cold. And in fact, his tapas, his spiritual energy, is so fervent and so great that the snow melts, so he can have a little sip of water. He eats his food a very short time, and pretty soon he's able to live off the prana of life. He needs no more material food. It goes on like this. A month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years go by. Lord Shiva, open an eye, open both eyes. Perhaps I should go visit this boss fellow. Now, all boss wanted was the blessing of Shiva. But you must never forget, he was an Ashura. So, Shiva transports himself to the cave. Namaste, boss. Namaste. In front of him is this giant Shiva. Glowing eyes, the skin glowing beautifully, beautifully, with ash, of course, all over his hair and long, long dreadlocks, but radiant, just glowing. And Bas says, "Oh, oh, Lord Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, oh, oh, I'm so glad, oh, the greatest of all the gods." Okay, boss. Okay, I get it. I've been aware since you came up here. I know, you can do a little bit better than that. You're sounding sing-songy. You're just praising me the way everybody else does. Let's come up with something a little more original if you're really glad to see me. Oh, my Lord, the earth, the sun, the sky, everything revolves around you. You are the master of all. Okay. It's not bad for a last-minute salutation. Now I see that you've been doing a lot of sadhana. And so I come to give you a boon. Now, for those of you that don't remember, a boon is a blessing that is given by the gods, by the divine ones, sometimes by Guru. A boon is a blessing of anything you might ask. Bas was beside himself. Finally, the time had come. Shiva was going to give him a boon. Finally, finally, finally. Now, I have to tell you, the one thing that Bas knew about Shiva was this. Shiva accepted everyone. Everyone. No matter how good they were, no matter how bad they were, no matter how evil they had been, no matter what they had done, he did not judge. If they did their sadhana, they did their sadhana, their spiritual disciplines, Shiva accepted everyone. He was the only one that Bas had ever known of who accepted all. So Bas knew that if he had done the disciplines, he would get what he wanted. But we don't know what he really wanted, do we? You'll find out in a minute. Yes, my Lord. I have a boon. Thank you. And what is that boon? Everything that my right hand touches, I want this to turn. Everything that it touches must turn to ash. That's what you'd like. Yes, yes, everything. Anything that this right hand touches must turn to ash. All right then. What can Shiva do? He said he'd give him a boon. He has to do it. So he reaches over with his hand and Bas's right hand is filled with this yoga siddhi. And he grins an evil grin, which you wouldn't think he'd be able to do after all that sadhana, but oh, he was evil. And he reaches that hand out towards Lord Shiva and says, "Oh, let me test it, please, Master." And Shiva says, "No, thank you." And off Shiva runs. And Bas runs after him. And Shiva runs, which is quite unusual. He's a meditator. He's not a runner. So, Shiva runs and runs and runs and runs and runs. Now, he's got some brothers. One of them is Vishnu. And the Lord Vishnu is in his garden, and he sees his brother running around the universe and thinks, this is a little odd. and decides he's going to step in and help. As Shiva enters the garden of Vishnu's house, Bas is running close by, but he slows down. Oh, wow. I'll be right there, Shiva. The most beautiful woman he's ever seen. Imagine the most beautiful woman he's ever seen right in front of him. And she's watering the garden with her watering can and looking at the beautiful flowers and chanting, Shiva, Shiva, Mahadeva, Namah Shivaya, Sanda Shiva, 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 Mahadeva, Namah Shivaya, Sanda Shiva. Now, Bas wants to be sung to like that. If he can only get rid of Shiva, the whole world will worship him like they worship Shiva. But he stops and he says, Hi, you're simply the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and I would like to marry you. And she said, I don't even know your name. Oh, my name is Bas. And what is your name? Oh, I am Mohini. But I cannot be your wife. I'm sure a handsome fellow like you must already have a wife. No. I've been so busy. I don't have a wife. I would love no one other than you. I would love you for my whole life. Only you. You and you alone. I'm sorry. You're too handsome. I just don't believe you. I think, in fact, that you probably have a dozen wives and you just want to take me home with the rest of them. Oh, please, please, tell me what I can do. What can I do to prove to you? Oh, well, how about this? Take your hand and place it upon your heart, your right hand, and place it upon your heart, and swear to me that you have no wives. And take your right hand then and place it upon your head at your sun center and swear to me that you have no wives. And then I will believe you. Of course. And with that, Bas the right hand, and there wasn't even time to put the hand on the head. Bas turned to ash completely. Mohini smiled and turned into Shiva's brother, Lord Vishnu. And Vishnu and Shiva stood there and said, oh, it never changes, does it? The evil always dissolves itself. The evil destroys itself in the end. In the end, it all will destroy itself. They never learn, do they? All this work, all the spiritual discipline that he did, for what did he want but power? Shiva, Shiva, Mahadeva, Namah Shivaya, Sanda Shiva, 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 Mahadeva, Namah Shivaya, Sanda Shiva. You leave this life with only one thing: your memories and your judgment of those memories. You come back to the life with only one thing: your memories and your judgment of those memories. all of the actions that you do in your life, everything you do in your life, all that matters is your intent. Why did you do something? What is it that you are seeking? Why? What? Not what you did, but really, what was your intent in doing that thing? Was your intent like Basa's intent? Knowingly or unknowingly? Was it to seek power? Was it because of greed or because of jealousy? Now, those words are strong words, and oftentimes we say, oh, no, not me, that wasn't me. I'm not like that. But it takes reflection, it takes target to say, well, now, let me see. What is it? What is my intent? What am I doing? Why am I doing this thing that I am doing? And what should I be doing differently than I am now? Now, isn't it interesting? Shiva's covered with ash. Covers with ash. And Shiva gave Bas his wish. Bas was so enthralled with the idea of power that it overwhelmed all of his spiritual disciplines. Can you imagine doing all that discipline, chanting and mantra and all that sadhana for all that time, and the Lord Divine shows up in front of you, and that thought, that evildoer thought, that evil thought, oh, I want them to chant my name, oh, I want the name and fame, oh, if I can overpower him, I can have all. Wow. It says to us, that story really says, what Patanjali says in the Yoga Sutras, greed. Greed is the last of the emotional states of consciousness to leave. Now, he was greedy for that power. What is it that you are greedy for? And if there's another word that you are more comfortable with than greed, because sometimes greed feels uncomfortable, and then think of another word. What is it that you desire, that your desires are filled with? Now, when you do your spiritual practice, Tarka is required along with the spiritual practice. Tarka is deep reflection. Now, you have to have, if you're going to do Tarka, you have to become comfortable with the thoughts that rise in your mind. You don't have to like them, but you must become comfortable and accepting of them. The thought that rises in your mind may be an ugly thought. The thought that rises in your mind may be a critical thought of your own personality and of others. But you must be able to accept it first and then do something to transform it. Because if you cannot accept it, you will not be able to see. If you cannot accept that thought rising in the mind. And so the thought rises in the mind and you say, oh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? It is only by this that we become able to see, oh, I'm doing this to get that. And all the spiritual practices are not to get something, but to get rid of, to dissolve away the karmas. Not to gather more, not to bring more, but to let go of. And the beauty of the state of consciousness of Shiva is letting go. Letting go of the past. Shiva dances on this beautiful, we see the Lord on this beautiful Nataraj dancing in the wheel of karma to suppress, to dissolve, not to suppress, but to dissolve away the karmas in life so that we are no longer affected by the karmas that we have drawn in. Now, one of the disciples asked the other day, how can you befriend the monsters? The monsters, those part of your consciousness that are greed and power. How do you befriend them? If you're going to befriend them, how do you do it? If they're unconscious, how do you do it? And the answer is what I've been trying to say to you this morning. You first begin to accept. Now, what was Boss's problem? Boss's problem is really, he was very, very clever. He understood the sadhana he had to do. He had the self-discipline, the concentration. He had all of the skills that he needed and developed them even as he went along. He knew the proper place to go. He knew the proper mantra. He knew the proper meditation. I mean, he was able to chant and meditate 20 hours a day, slept very little. He really, really, really had a lot of self-discipline. But in all that doing, he did not once stop and say, why am I doing this? And is this going to be of benefit to me? Or is this going to destroy me? He did not want to see Mahadeva, Lord Shiva, because he wanted to be in the presence of the divine. He wanted to see Mahadeva so that he could destroy him, so that he could have the power that he thought the Divine One had. Now, you begin to meditate, you begin to chant, and there is a tendency in the mind to, as I said, to want something. Bells, whistles, wonderful experiences. How about letting go of the difficult parts of your personality and becoming kinder and gentler and nicer and more beloved by those around you? That is harder than the other. Yet the mind wants. There was a fellow that came to Shelley G. a long time ago, many decades ago, and asked for a mantra to become a millionaire. He wanted to be a millionaire. And you know the story. Shelley said, how much money would you have if you were a millionaire? Oh, about $100. Did you ever meet a millionaire? Did you ever study books on finances? Do you have a job? You ever talk to anybody about how to make money on the earth? I came to you. I want a mantra. I want a mantra. And with that mantra, I'm going to gain dollar bill wealth. Now, the answer was, well, that's an awfully hard and long way to do it. But, and I don't think it's wise. He gave him a mantra. I never heard whether the man got his $100 or whether he did the mantra or what he did with it. But he's not a fool. He's like all of us. The idea that a mantra will bring you something. It will help to get rid of things. It will help to get rid of the fear of the mind, the anxiety of the mind, the jealousy of the mind, the nervousness of the mind, the depression of the mind, the self-criticism of the mind. These are the things that we need to dissolve away. These are the things that we need to let go of. The greatest of these that needs to be dissolved away is this: your judgment of yourself. Your self-judgment. You need to be able to deeply reflect and say, where did I goof? Where did I goof? Not, where did I make a mistake? Not, oh, I messed this up. Where did I goof? Where did I slip? What can I do to correct the way that I feel about that? That's the key. Another disciple was talking a few weeks ago, and somebody who has tried very hard to solve a life problem, and she stumbled, and it was just a stumble, right? And she said, and you could feel it. As she said, you could feel that she was filled with such regret and self-judgment. It's not going to help you. You don't get up off the ground with regret and self-judgment. Just say, okay, all right, pick it up, start again. Pick it up, start again. Pick it up, start again. It's all right. It's all right. Now, you need to ask yourself, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to dissolve away in my mind? What do I need to dissolve away in my life? And how can I do that? Dissolving away in your life, what can you let go of? Now, I'd like to ask you to just stop for a moment, and I'm going to say for the third time, what you leave with is your memory and your judgment of all of those memories of your life. What you come back with is your memory and all of your judgment about everything that you have done. Everything you've thought, everything you've said, everything you've done. Now, this last evening was the time that many, many people around the world attuned to the state of consciousness of Shiva, the destroyer of all that is no longer of use upon the earth, upon all planes. Shiva is linked to Lord Saturn. Saturn, the structure of earth life. Saturn, the structure of your entire being, your skin, your bones. And this time period was a period to honor Shiva. And as we come to the sunrise, we have come to the sunrise and the high noon of this day following the great night. All of the spiritual energy is still radiating in the earth, radiating in the astral realms. People asking for help. People honoring Mahadev. Shiva is said to be the guardian of the yogis, the great meditator. But now I must tell you, I was with my guru, and we were visiting my guru and two other swamis, and we were visiting an ashram in Columbus, Ohio. And the pundit who was there was a lovely, lovely Shaivite priest. And we were sitting in his ashram, and the priest, Swamiji, turns to me and he said, Lord Shiva is the greatest God. I'm afraid I didn't say it exactly the way he said it. Lord Shiva is the greatest God. Still didn't get it right. What can I say to you? When he said it, I was shocked. The fervor, the devotion, the knowing that came from him. And in my mind, I'm sitting right next to my guru, and in my mind, I say, Kriyanandaji, why didn't you tell me that? And I look at Kriyananda, and I didn't say it out loud, I have a shocked look on my face, and he could see the shock on my face. And he leaned over and he whispered, for the Shaivite, Lord Shiva is the greatest of all. But it doesn't matter to you and me. We have our Ishtadevata. Your Ishtadevata, the form of the divine that you have chosen, that is your greatest form of the divine, to help you to solve your life problems, to help you from here to tomorrow, to the next tomorrow, to the next tomorrow, to all of your incarnations. You have this form of the divine to become intimate with, to become one with, to attune to. And if for the time the form of the divine that you are attuning to takes the shape and form of Lord Shiva, or Lord Ganesh, or Lord Hanuman, or the beautiful Kenzi Miyabi-san, it matters not. Or my beautiful Lord Omji. What matters is that you know who you are attuning to, and that you are attuning to the divine to help you to see more clearly what you need to do to dissolve away the obstacles in your life. What you need to do to be able to see clearly. There's a disciple who said, how can you see the monsters if they won't come up? Oh, they will come up. All you have to do is accept them. I may not be very comfortable, but, I'll allow you to rise. And what happens is, as soon as the ugly thought arises, you're observing up here, as soon as that ugly thought arises, it's interesting. Wonder where you came from. That's interesting. As soon as you say that it's interesting, or you show curiosity or interest, not attachment, but interest, I see he wants to see. I see she wants to see. Oh. Comes up, neti, 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 goes away. Then more will come up. Oh, neti, neti, neti. When they see that you are not closing the iron gate on them, when the thought forms see that you are willing to accept them and allow them to rise, to fall, to rise and fall, they will present themselves to you. And you can then act as need be. Now there's one last thing that I would like to say. And this was in the beginning of my discipleship, fairly early on. And I had been doing a practice that my guru had given me. And I went back to him to have him check the practice. And he said, there's a problem with what you're doing. He said, you're doing it with too much aggression because you are seeking something here. He said, you're pushing because you want something. And you must let go of that wanting. Now, what I have to communicate to you is that it was very hard for me. My first reaction was, no. And then he said, no. You have to look at this. Watch while you're doing the practice. Watch carefully. Before you begin the practice, back up and watch. When you finish the practice, sit and watch. And watch what is beneath what you're doing. Watch what it is that you're seeking and wanting. And he was correct. He was absolutely correct. The reason I say it to you now is that if I can give you that feeling state that I had, which was, in one sense, I simply did not see when I was doing the practice in the beginning. I didn't see that I was really trying to get a result. And I won't tell you what I was trying to get. It's a little embarrassing these years later, but once I saw that, it didn't mean that it stopped, but it meant that I could see when it was coming again. It meant that I could see when it was coming again. You know, and what kind of results, what kind of things do we want? Now when you do your practice, I mean, I will tell you that oftentimes, you know, in prayer practice, in meditative prayer, you know, it's one must be careful to not seek a specific result. Someone that you love is sick and you're doing meditation prayer, you're praying for them. You know, the answer is not gimme, 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 gimme. It is let the highest be good. The highest good be done. Not what I want, but what is best for them, what is best for the highest good. Because you and I don't know. And so we need to stop trying to interfere and let that desire to interfere be gone and dissolve away. But may, as the French would say, be aware that it may rise again, and you have to do again the reflection. Rise again, the reflection. Fall, rise, fall. And then you will be able to see that which needs to be done. So at this very special, special moment, let us turn inward and truly allow those obstacles that are in our lives to dissolve away. There's one more thing I must say, please. Life's delays are not life's denials. Some of you are going through extraordinarily difficult times. I'm aware of that. Some of you have been going through difficult times for the last couple of years. And some of you are weary because of it. Time will change. It will ease up. And do not go through, let go of this idea that, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Oftentimes, the question is, rather than what did I do or why, you know, how? How may I change this? What needs to be changed? Don't berate yourself. Don't mentally hit yourself, which some of you are doing. Let that go. Dissolve that away so that you might be able to see that which needs to be done. Or as my guru said to me one night as we were leaving a retreat and going to the pharmacy, he said, "Here, I'll get you some aspirin. First, take the aspirin and then figure out why the headache was there. First, take the medicine. And then in time it will become clear that which needs to be done." Let us conclude with a meditation, please. Shiva, Shiva, Mahadeva, Namah Shivaya, Sanda Shiva, Shiva Shiva Mahadeva, Namah Shivaya, Sanda Shiva. Turning your head to the left, exhale twice. Bring the head back to the center. Using the sipping breath, draw the energy from the limbs to the trunk. And now from the trunk to the spinal column. And now from the base of the spine to the sun center. And move that energy out as a golden ball of light. And sweeping to the left, encase your entire being in golden light. And do this 3 times. Expanding that golden light, ascend upward. Ascend as high as you are able, above the room, above the building. Ascend as high as you are able. Reaching the high place of meditation. See in front of you a path. Walk upon the path. And see it ascend into a forest. Feel the light pouring through the trees. Keep walking through the forest. In front of you, there's a great expanse. You see a meadow. The sunlight is pouring upon the meadow. Birds of every color and shape, dragonflies, butterflies, all are flying and humming through the meadow. The path continues, ascending upward. You ascend again into a forest, very sparsely populated. You realize you're in the high mountains, the highest Himalayas. In front of you is a brilliant light. Walking toward that light, you come to a clearing. There is a shrine in the clearing. Enter into the shrine. Walk towards the light in the back of the shrine. It becomes more and more brilliant as you walk toward it. There's a pool of light. Enter into the pool. Feel everything beginning to dissolve away. Walk towards the waterfall, brilliant waterfall of light. Standing beneath it, the light pours down upon your crown center. Filling every cell of your being. Breathe in the light. Feel the light washing away all of the heavy karmas. Feel the light dissolving away. All of the needs and greeds, all of the angular energy, dissolving the karma. And in its place, filled with light. Walk forth from the light, feeling your body levitating slightly, filled with light. Walking forth from the shrine, breathing in all the light that you are filled with. Your beloved Ishtadevata, your chosen form of the divine, awaits for you. Return to your high place of meditation. Om Hum Jum Saha Uvasvaha Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urbarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritada Svaha Urbhuva Om Svaha. Shum Hum. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gum Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Aim Saraswataye Namaha. Prananandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Yanamurtim Bhavadidan Trigunaredam Sadgurum Tam Namame Chaitanyam Shasatam Shantam Nirakalam Nirandalam Nada Bindu Kalatitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dhyanamulam Guru Murti Pujamulam Guru Padam Mantramulam Guru Vakyam Mokshamulam Guru Kripa. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Murtaye Nishprabhanjaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Gum Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Gum Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Gum Gurubhyo Namaha. Be thou blessed, be thou blessed, be thou triply blessed. Thou art a blessing unto life. Be a greater blessing unto all of those who enter your aura. Namaste. Namaskar. It is always a blessing to see you. Some of you whom I have not seen in so long. Swami Ji, I'm glad you're here this morning. Makes my heart so very happy. Too many moons. Too many moons. Thank you. Thank you all for the blessing of sharing this day together, this time together. And Gretchen, it wasn't your full Mahashivaratri, but I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful evening. Shanti. Namaste.